welcome to the channel. If you're new, hit the subscribe button and notification bell. That way you can be up to date with our future uploads. Welcome to the segment, The History of the Characters. On this segment, we'll be discussing the lore of various characters from movies, video games, and many more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go!
Kazuya Mishima was not born a monster. He was born into a family defined by power and cruelty. His father, Heihachi Mishima, was the formidable head of the Mishima Zaibatsu. This was a massive global corporation with its fingers in every industry imaginable, from technology to military development. From a young age, Kazuya was subjected to his father's brutal training regimen. Heihachi believed that strength was the only virtue that mattered. He saw any sign of weakness or compassion in his son as a flaw that needed to be violently purged. This harsh upbringing forged Kazuya in a crucible of pain and resentment, planting the seeds of hatred that would come to define his entire existence. The defining moment of Kazuya's childhood was a horrific act of paternal cruelty. To test his son's strength and see if he was worthy of the Mishima name, Heihachi took young Kazuya to a deep, rocky ravine. He believed that if Kazuya was truly his son, he would possess the power to survive the impossible. Without a moment's hesitation, Heihachi threw his own child off the cliff's edge. This was not just a test. It was an attempted execution disguised as a lesson. Kazuya was left for dead, his body broken, and his spirit shattered by the ultimate betrayal from the one person who should have protected him. As Kazuya lay dying at the bottom of the chasm, something ancient and sinister stirred within him. The immense trauma and his desperate will to survive awakened a dormant power in his blood, the devil gene. This supernatural force offered him a pact. It promised him the power to live, the strength to climb back from the abyss, and the ability to one day exact his revenge upon his father. In his moment of greatest desperation, Kazuya accepted this dark gift. The devil gene healed his fatal wounds, but it came at a terrible price, forever binding his soul to a malevolent entity. This cursed inheritance set Kazuya on a tragic and violent path. The devil gene was not merely a source of power, it was a corrupting influence that amplified his darkest emotions. His understandable desire for revenge against Heihachi twisted into an all-consuming lust for power and control. The boy who was thrown from the cliff died that day, and in his place rose a warrior fueled by pure hatred. The devil gene became both his greatest weapon and his eternal damnation, ensuring that the cycle of violence within the Mishima family would not end with him, but would instead escalate to a global scale. Years passed, and Kazuya Mishima grew into a fearsome martial artist, his skills honed by relentless training and supplemented by the dark power coursing through his veins. His singular goal was the complete and utter destruction of his father. The opportunity for his revenge finally arrived when Heihachi announced the first King of Iron Fist tournament. This global fighting competition was a publicity stunt for the Mishima Zaibatsu, but for Kazuya it was the perfect stage. He entered the tournament not for fame or fortune, but to finally confront Heihachi on his own terms and make him pay for his past sins. Kazuya fought his way through the world's greatest warriors, his fighting style a brutal and efficient version of the Mishima-style karate his father had taught him. With each victory, he moved closer to his final goal. His power was immense, a combination of his martial arts prowess and the latent devil gene that would surge forth in moments of extreme duress. He reached the final round, where he stood face to face with the man who had tried to kill him. The battle was epic, a clash of two generations of Mishima ambition and hatred, with the fate of a global empire hanging in the balance. In a stunning turn of events, Kazuya defeated Heihachi. He had achieved the victory he had dreamed of for decades, but simple victory was not enough to quench his thirst for vengeance. In an act mirroring his own traumatic past, Kazuya carried his defeated father to the very same cliff from his childhood. Without mercy, he threw Heihachi into the ravine, believing he had finally ended his father's tyrannical reign. With Heihachi gone, Kazuya seized control of the Mishima Zaibatsu, becoming its new leader. He had finally attained the power he so desperately craved. However, power corrupted Kazuya absolutely. As the new head of the Mishima Zaibatsu, he proved to be even more ruthless and tyrannical than his father had ever been. He transformed the corporation into a truly sinister organization, engaging in illegal activities like assassination, smuggling, and genetic experimentation. The Devil Gene's influence grew stronger, eroding what little humanity he had left. His reign culminated in the announcement of the King of Iron Fist Tournament 2, a ploy to lure out his remaining enemies and consolidate his absolute control over the world. Kazuya's brutal reign was not to last. Heihachi, against all odds, had survived the fall from the cliff, just as Kazuya had years before. Fueled by his own burning desire for revenge, Heihachi trained in secret, plotting his return. He entered the Second King of Iron Fist tournament, determined to reclaim his empire from his treacherous son. The tournament became another battleground for the Mishima family's endless war. The father-son dynamic had completely inverted, with Heihachi now playing the role of the vengeful challenger, seeking to overthrow the corrupt leader he had inadvertently created. The final battle of the second tournament was even more intense than the first. Kazuya, now struggling to control the devil within, fought his father with desperate ferocity. He even unleashed his full devil form, a terrifying winged demon, but it was not enough. Heihachi, prepared for his son's supernatural power, managed to defeat him. Showing a complete lack of sentiment, Heihachi did not want to risk Kazuya returning again. To ensure his son was gone for good, he threw Kazuya's unconscious body into the mouth of an erupting volcano, believing that no one could survive such an inferno. For nearly 2 decades, the world believed Kazuya Mishima was dead. The Mishima Zaibatsu was once again under Heihachi's control. However, Kazuya's body was secretly recovered from the volcano by a rival corporation, G Corporation. Their scientists were fascinated by the Devil Gene and spent years studying and resurrecting him. When Kazuya finally reawakened, he was more powerful than ever. He had gained a newfound control over the Devil Gene, able to consciously harness its power without losing his own identity. He embraced his role within G Corp, quickly rising to become its CEO. With the formidable resources of G Corporation at his command, Kazuya declared open war on the Mishima Zaibatsu. This escalated the family feud into a global conflict, with 2 powerful corporations battling for world domination. The rivalry between father and son was no longer a personal vendetta. It was a war that ravaged nations and cost countless lives. Kazuya, now a calculating and powerful executive, was a far greater threat than he had been as a mere tournament fighter. His ambitions had grown, and he now sought not just to defeat his father, but to rule the entire world. The conflict between Kazuya and Heihachi reached its zenith during the events of Tekken 7. The global war between the Mishima Zaibatsu and G Corporation had thrown the world into chaos. This final chapter of their rivalry was not about tournaments or corporate takeovers. It was a deeply personal, brutal fight to the death. The battlefield was once again a volcano, a fitting stage for their fiery hatred. Here, Kazuya finally learned the truth about his family's curse. The Devil Gene originated from his mother, Kazumi Mishima, who Heihachi had killed years ago, believing her demonic nature was a threat. This revelation added another layer of tragedy to their conflict, but it did not change their intent. Kazuya and Heihachi engaged in their final cataclysmic battle. The fight was savage, pushing both men to their absolute limits.
まだ死んでおらんか。おのれ平八。貴様から全てを取り戻す。
Kazuya, fully embracing his demonic power, finally overpowered his father. With a powerful punch straight through the chest, Kazuya ended Heihachi's life, fulfilling the vengeful promise he made as a child. He then threw his father's body into the molten lava, ensuring the cycle of betrayal came to a definitive, fiery end. With Heihachi gone, Kazuya's final obstacle was his own son, Jin Kazama. Jin also carries the devil gene and has spent his life trying to rid the world of their cursed bloodline. The rivalry between Kazuya and Jin became the new central conflict, a tragic echo of Kazuya's own relationship with Heihachi. In the events of Tekken 8, this father-son war reached its conclusion. After a battle that spanned the globe and pushed both to the brink of death, Jin finally defeated Kazuya. He did not kill his father, but instead used his own purified power to seemingly purge the devil gene from Kazuya, leaving him defeated and powerless. Kazuya Mishima's story is a profound tragedy. He is a character defined by a single act of cruelty that sent his life spiraling into darkness. His journey from a wronged child to a demonic tyrant raises questions about nature versus nurture, and whether he could have ever escaped his fate. Was he always destined for evil, or was he a victim forged into a monster by his father's hatred? Though defeated, his legacy as one of gaming's most compelling villains is undeniable. The Devil's legacy, born in a ravine and ended by his own son, serves as a dark and enduring chapter in the epic saga of Tekken.